Dear learners, how are you? I hope all of you are safe and sound by the grace of Almighty Allah. The whole world is now under the threat of COVID-19. Millions of people have been attacked with this virus. It has already snatched away the lives of more than 1 million people. All the development activities are hampered severely. You are cut off from your classroom study for a long time. It is hampering your academic progress badly. So, Sirajganj online school has arranged online classes for you. I hope if you join the class attentively, you will be highly benefited. Dear learners, my today's topic is right form of verb. It's an important part in your syllabus. You know that verb is the nucleus of a sentence. Without the proper use of verb, we cannot write a sentence correctly. We cannot write a formal sentence correctly. So, in order to write a sentence correctly, you must know the rules of the right form of verbs. You must know the right form of verbs. In the previous classes, I discussed the rules of right form of verbs. In the last class, I already discussed a passage where you got 5 blanks, and you had to fill up the blanks with the verb given in the brackets. Today, again, I have written a passage on the board. You should go through the passage, and before solving the problem, you must keep in mind that if the passage is in present tense, most of the verbs will be in present tense. If the passage is in past tense, most of the verbs will be in past tense. We try to go through the passage. Football is a favorite game in our country. The passage is about a favorite game, football. So, it's a common description, and most of the verb will be in present tense. In the first sentence, football is a favorite game in our country. There is no gap in the first sentence, but in the second sentence we find 2 gaps in the second sentence. It arranges between 2 teams, contain 11 players each. In the second sentence we find 2 verbs. The first verb is arrange and the second verb is contain. And at first, to write down the correct form of verbs, at first we have to detect whether the verb is finite or non-finite. If the verb is finite, then you must set up the verb according to the rules of tense, person and number. And if the verb is non-finite, then you need not think about tense, person and number. It arranges between 2 teams, contain 11 players each. In this sentence we find 2 verbs. Both the verbs may be finite, or one finite and the another might be non-finite. If both the verbs are finite, then the sentence may be complex or compound. If the sentence is a complex one, then there must have as, since, if, so that, because, though, although, or relative pronoun who is that in the sentence. But we find no sign of complex sentence, no word of complex sentence. It arranges between 2 teams, contain 11 players each. There is no sign of complex sentence. If the sentence is in if the sentence is compound as a compound sentence, then there must have and, but, or between 2 verbs. But there is no sign of and, but, or between two verbs. So it's not a compound sentence. Then we can say that this is a simple sentence. We know that in a simple sentence we have only finite verb and others will be non-finite. So it arranges between two teams contain 11 players is. In this verb, one will be finite. Usually after subject we find a finite verb. It arranges between two teams. As the passage is in present indefinite tense, the finite verb will be present indefinite tense. Then whether the verb is in active form or in passive form. At first we will have to detect whether the verb is in active form or in passive form. Here object is set up before the verb. Football cannot be arranged by itself. Football team cannot be arranged by itself. It is arranged by others. So it is the object of the sentence, and if the sentence begins with an object, we can say that it's in passive form. So this very sentence is in passive form, and the passage is in present indefinite tense. So if and so we can consider the verb as present indefinite tense. So after subject we can use am, is, are as auxiliary verb and the past participle form of verb. It is arranged between two teams. In past indefinite tense, for active voice we find no auxiliary verb. After subject we use the present form of verb only. In passive voice we use auxiliary verb am, is, are and the past participle form of verb. In all passive forms we find only the past participle form of verb. Here there is no other form of verb in passive form. It is arranged between two teams. Now is arranged, this verb is a finite verb, so content must be a non-finite verb. It is arranged between two teams contain 11 players is. It is arranged between two teams. Here NP plus participle. It is arranged between two teams NP plus participle. So we can use present participle verb or past participle verb. As team is the as contain is a non-finite verb, so as contain is a finite verb, but team is the doer of the sentence. It is arranged between two teams participle NP plus participle containing. It is arranged between two teams containing 11 players is NP plus participle. Here finite verb is arranged and non-finite verb is contain. NP plus noun phrase plus participle. So we can use containing for contain. It is arranged between two teams containing 11 players is. Now in the next sentence, the captains of both the teams lead their groups. Here we find only one verb, lead, so it must be a finite verb. We must set up the verb according to the rules of tense, person and number. As the passage is in present indefinite tense, so this verb will be in present indefinite tense. The captains of both the teams lead. For present indefinite tense, after subject we will have to use the present form of verb. The captains of both the teams lead their groups. The captains of both the teams lead their groups. After subject we have to use the present form of verb as the sentence is in active form. This is the most exciting and enjoyable game ever. This is the most exciting and enjoyable game ever. Here finite verb is this and play is a non-finite verb. As it's a simple sentence. This is the most exciting and enjoyable game ever played across the world. As the finite verb is and this sentence is a simple sentence, and here we find finite verb is, so play is a non-finite verb. Here this is the most exciting and enjoyable game after noun phrase the verb will be present participle or past participle. Here game is not the doer, so we have to use the past participle form of verb. Play, played, played. This is the most exciting and enjoyable game ever played across the world. Now, as is finite verb and played is non-finite verb. NP plus participle, here past participle form. We have used past participle form to complete the sentence. It ran for an hour and a half with an interval after half of the time be over. It ran for an hour and a half. We know that if we find or or since before time, then we can consider the sentence as perfect continuous tense. But it's a common description, so it will be in present indefinite tense. This verb will be in present indefinite tense. It ran for an hour and a half with an interval. In this clause, we have only one verb, run, so it's a finite verb, and it will be in present indefinite tense. Though we know that before time, if we find for or since before time, the tense will be perfect continuous tense. But this sentence is a common description. So it will be in present indefinite tense. Run is an intransitive verb, so we can solve it only in active form. It ran. Subjects, then we can use the present form verb. Subject is third person singular number, so we can add s or s after the verb. It runs for an hour and a half with an interval after half of the time be over. Next clause, after half of the time be over. As the sentence is in present indefinite tense, we can use is. It runs for an hour and a half with an interval after half of the time is over. Next sentence, any football tournament arranged between two strong teams can be exciting. In this sentence, any football tournament arranged between two strong teams can be. Here, it's the finite verb. So, arrange will be a non-finite verb, as there is no and as we do not find and what or between the two verbs. We do not find as, since, if, so that, because, who is that, etc. in the sentence. So this sentence is only a simple sentence where we find only one finite verb and the other verb will be non-finite. Here the finite verb is can be. As we find can, modal auxiliary before the verb, so it must be a finite verb. Then arrange will be a non-finite verb, though it is set up after a subject, yet it's a non-finite verb. Any football tournament arranged between two strong teams can be exciting. If we find a non-finite verb after the subject, then it will be present participle or past participle. If we find a non-finite verb after the subject, then it will be present participle or past participle. If the subject itself is the doer, then it will be present participle. Otherwise, it will be past participle form of verb. Any football tournament, the subject is not the doer, so the football tournament is arranged by others, so it's not the subject, it's object. And any football tournament arranged between two strong teams can be exciting. After subject, if we find any non-finite verb, it will be present participle or past participle. If the subject is the doer, then present participle, otherwise it will be past participle. Here we can use the past participle, as football tournament is not itself is not the doer. Arrange, arranged, arranged. Any football tournament arranged between two strong teams can be exciting. Any football tournament arranged by the two strong teams can be exciting. Next, the result remain almost unpredictable till the end. In this sentence, we find two clauses. Before because we find one clause. The result remain almost unpredictable till the end. The sentence is in present indefinite tense, so the verb will be, so here we can use, after subject we can use the present form of verb. The result remain, subject is third person singular number, so we have to add s or is after the verb. The result remains almost unpredictable till the end, because any team might win the other team, score a goal within seconds. Here finite verb is might win. Win is the finite verb, then score is the non-finite verb. As the sentence, because any team might win the other team, score a goal with seconds. It's a clause, and we know that in a clause we find only one finite verb. So here, as the verb is used after a modal might, if we find any auxiliary verb or modal auxiliary verb before a verb, then we can consider the verb as a finite verb. So here might win is a finite verb and score is a non-finite verb, because any team might win the other team, score a good goal within seconds. This non-finite verb expresses how the finite verb has taken place. So it expresses adverb of manner, and when a non-finite verb expresses adverb of manner, then we use present participle form of verb. The result, because any team might win the other team, scoring, as it's a non-finite verb and it expresses adverb of manner, how the main verb has been taken place. So we can use present participle form of verb. Then the sentence will be, the result remains almost unpredictable till the end, because any team might win the other team, scoring a goal within seconds. The referee is to see whether the rules, there is another clause, rules and order maintained by the players. It's a finite verb. If we find by plus object in a finite verb, by plus object after a finite, if you find by plus object after a finite verb, then it will be in passive form in any tense. If you find by plus object after a finite verb, it will be a passive form. The verb will be in passive form. If you find by plus object after a non-finite verb, it will be only the past part. The verb will be only the past participle form verb. As maintained a finite verb, so we'll have to change the verb into passive voice, passive form. The referee is to see whether rules and order are, as the passage is in present indefinite tense, auxiliary verb am is are, and the past participle form of verb maintained. The referee is to see whether the rules and order are maintained by the players. Now I am again discussing the passage. To solve the passage, to set up right form of verbs, at first you will have to go through the passage well, and you will have to be confirmed about the tense of the passage. Football is a favorite game in our country. আমাদের দেশে ফুটবল একটি জনপ্রিয় খেলা. It's a common description. So the passage is in present indefinite tense. The finite verb will be usually the finite verb will be in present indefinite tense. In the second sentence, it arranges between two teams contain 11 players each. Here we find two verbs. The first verb is arrange and the second verb is contain. Here the finite verb is arrange, and as it's only a single clause, so here we find only one finite verb and the other verb will be non-finite. As the passage is in present tense, so the verb will be in present form, but we find object before the verb, so the sentence will be in passive form. According to the rules of present indefinite tense, passive form, after subject we have to use auxiliary verb am is are and the past participle form of verb. It is arranged between two teams, and contain is a non-finite verb. Here team after noun, if we find a non-finite verb, it will be present participle and past participle. We can use it is arranged between two teams. containing present participle 11 players is. The captains of both the teams lead their groups. In this sentence, we find only one verb, lead. So we are sure that lead is a finite verb, and the passage is in present indefinite tense, so it will be in present indefinite tense. After subject, we have used the present form of verb. The captains of both the teams lead their groups. This is the most exciting and enjoyable game ever played across the world. Here is the finite verb and play is the non-finite verb. So we have to use the past participle form of verb, as game is not the doer. So we have used the past participle form of verb. It runs for an hour. This is the most exciting and enjoyable game. Played across the world. It ran for an hour and a half with an interval after half of the time be over. In this sentence, we find two clauses. The first clause is it ran for an hour and a half with an interval. This is the first clause, and the sentence is in present indefinite tense. We know that before time, if we find a since or for, we can consider the sentence present perfect tense, but it's a common description, so this verb is in present form. So after subject, we have to use the present form of verb, and as the subject is third person singular number, we add s or s after the verb. It runs for an hour and a half with an interval after the half of the time is over, be over. It's also another clause. So as the passage as the sentence is in present indefinite tense, we have to use is over. Any football tournament arranged between two strong teams can be exciting. In this sentence, we find two verbs, arrange and can be. Can be is a finite verb. We know that if we find can, could, should, would before a verb, am, is, or was, before a verb, it will be a finite verb. Then arrange will be a non-finite verb, as it's the only clause. As we find only one clause in this sentence. Any football tournament, this is the subject. After subject, we find a non-finite verb, then it will be present participle or past participle. Here tournament is not the doer. Any football tournament, it is arranged by another person. So we have to use the past participle form of verb. Any football tournament arranged between two strong teams can be exciting. The result remain almost unpredictable till the end, because any team might win the other team, score a goal within seconds. In this sentence, we find two clauses. The first clause is the result remain almost unpredictable till the end. Here we find only one finite verb, remain. So as the passage is in present indefinite tense, we have to use the present form of verb. Subject is third person singular number, so we have to add s or s after the verb. And after in the second clause, because any team might win the other team, score a goal within seconds. Here might win is a finite verb, then score is a non-finite verb. As score expresses how the finite verb is occurred, how the finite verb has occurred. So it expresses adverb of manner, and if we find if any non-finite verb expresses adverb of manner, then we use the present participle form of verb, because any team might win the other team, scoring a goal within seconds. The referee is to see whether the rules and order maintained by the others. Here after whether we find another clause, here finite verb is maintained. If we find by plus others, by plus object after a finite verb, then it will be in passive form. As the passage is in present tense, so we have used after subject auxiliary verb am, is, are, and the past participle form of verb. In this passage, I have discussed many rules of right form of verbs. In the next class, I will again try to discuss another passage. You will try to follow the passage. You will practice more passages to be expert in right form of verbs. No more today. Thank you very much. See you again.